Every momentum name the scanner caught this week is stretched, and the broader tape is more fearful than the macro score lets on. A lot to unpack tonight. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Totally Invest. Let's get into it. This scan ran through just under 400 tickers and came back with 290 long setups and 33 short setups. I will walk you through the top picks to keep on your radar heading into next week. As always, nothing here is financial advice. Do your own research and manage risk according to your own individual risk profile. Macro has a mild risk on lean right now, which is a constructive backdrop for continuation setups in general. At the stock level, though, the picture is more interesting. Fear names are actually outpacing greed names by a pretty wide margin. So under the surface, the tape is more cautious than the headline macro score suggests. That divergence is worth keeping in mind. It is exactly why the dip watch and reversal setups this week deserve attention alongside the momentum names. There were no episodic pivot setups flagged in this scan, so we are going to skip straight into the momentum picks tonight. These are continuation setups where the breakout scanner is showing both the daily and weekly fully aligned bullish, confirmed by sentiment on the individual names. One heads up before we start, every single momentum pick this week is extended above the weekly 9 EMA. That means the trends are real and the signals are valid, but chasing here is the mistake. The scanner is calling these out for the watch list, not as reasons to pile in at the top of a move. Moderna is the first name up, and this is one of the more extreme extension cases in the scan. Both the daily and weekly are aligned bullish. ADX is strong and rising, which tells us this trend has real institutional conviction behind it, and the flow signal is still early in the sequence. But the price is sitting massively above the weekly 9 EMA right now. Check the chart. It is stretched. The scanner is not saying avoid this name. It is saying the setup would call for waiting for the price to come back toward that rising weekly 9 EMA before thinking about any kind of entry. Anyone already holding this one, the scanner suggests the move here is trailing stops, not adding size. HIMS is next, and this one has a wrinkle worth flagging. Short interest is sitting above 34%, which is a meaningful number, and it is one reason this stock can move violently in both directions. The daily and weekly are aligned bullish, ADX is rising, and the fresh signal is still in its early bars. But just like Moderna, the price is well extended from the weekly 9 EMA. The setup would call for patience here. Let the name breathe back toward the weekly mean rather than chasing this move. The high short interest is a double-edged sword. It can accelerate a squeeze, but it can also create fast drops if sentiment shifts. Snowflake is flagged next, and this one is sitting in extreme greed on its own sentiment reading, which adds a layer of caution on top of the extension already baked in. The trend structure is there, daily and weekly both bullish, ADX strong and rising, and the flow is early. But when a name is this extended and the crowd sentiment is fully leaning one direction, the scanner is essentially saying the easy money on this leg may already be in. Worth having on the radar, but the setup would not support adding here. Wait for a meaningful pullback before this one becomes actionable. International Business Machines is the fourth name, and this one is the least extended of the five, though still above the weekly 9 EMA threshold that warrants defensive framing. What stands out here is that the GAN signal just fired on bar 1, meaning this is the freshest of all the signals in tonight's scan. A DX is rising, and both time frames are aligned. The scanner is flagging this as a name to watch closely, especially if the price consolidates or dips back toward the weekly mean in the sessions ahead. That would be the cleaner risk-defined setup rather than stepping in right now at the top of the move. Rounding out the 5 is Rubrik, a cybersecurity name that has been quietly building a strong trend. Daily and weekly aligned bullish, ADX is rising, flow is early. The extension here is notable. Check where price sits relative to the weekly 9 EMA on the chart. Same framing applies. The scanner is watching this one for a pullback that brings it back toward the rising weekly mean. If that happens with volume drying up on the dip, that is the kind of structure worth watching closely. These three names are in strong weekly uptrends. This is not a short thesis on any of them. The weekly trend is intact, the daily has simply cooled off, and the scanner is watching for a low volume pullback entry. Affirm Holdings is the first dip watch name. The weekly trend is fully intact, and the weekly 9 EMA is well below current price, so the structure is healthy. The daily has cooled off noticeably relative to the weekly, and price is holding near the daily 9 EMA with volume drying up on this pullback. That is the healthy signature the scanner looks for. Worth watching to see if that daily 9 EMA holds as support. Block is showing a similar setup. Weekly trend intact, daily sentiment has pulled back, price is near the daily 9 EMA, and volume on the pullback is fading. The weekly 9 EMA is not far below either, so this one has a tighter buffer than Affirm. The scanner is watching for continued quiet price action near this level as the daily catches up to the weekly. Roku rounds out the dip watch. The daily has cooled relative to the weekly. Volume is drying up on the pullback, and price is holding near the daily 9 EMA. The weekly trend is intact. Same thesis as the others, the scanner is watching this level to see if buyers step in quietly while the sellers stay out of the way. These are patience plays, early exhaustion signals worth stalking, not confirmed bottoms. The seller exhaustion data and the reclaim of the daily 9 EMA are the structural reads here. The washed out sentiment is just the confluence. BitMine Immersion Technologies is sitting in extreme fear on its own sentiment reading, and the bear streak has stretched to 8 consecutive weekly bars. That is a long run of selling, and ADX is falling, which tells us the downtrend is losing momentum. Price has reclaimed the daily 9 EMA, and volume is drying up. The scanner is flagging this as a name where seller exhaustion may be setting in, but patience is key. The weekly is showing a pre-buy signal, not a confirmed buy. Worth watching for follow-through. Charter Communications has an even longer bear streak, 11 consecutive bars of selling pressure. A DX is falling here too, the downtrend is weakening. Price has reclaimed the daily 9 EMA with volume fading on the down days. The stock's own sentiment is in fear, not extreme fear, which actually puts it in a slightly less washed out spot than BitMine. The weekly is also flagging a pre-buy. Same framing, early exhaustion signals, not a confirmed reversal, but one to stalk carefully. Now let's take a look at a few of the top tickers that the scanner is calling out for potential bearish moves. Micron technology is flagged by the scanner as a distribution setup. The stock is sitting near its 52-week highs with its own sentiment deep in greed, and the scanner is picking up distribution signals, meaning institutional money may be quietly handing off inventory at these levels. The scanner suggests this is the kind of setup where trimming size and tightening trailing stops makes more sense than adding. A ASML holding is showing the same distribution pattern. Near 52-week highs, sentiment on the stock itself is in greed, and the scanner is flagging institutional distribution in the background. Again, not a short thesis, but a heads up for existing longs that smart money may be reducing exposure here. The scanner's read is to protect gains rather than press the position. All right, that is going to wrap it up for tonight's scan. Thank you all for watching, and as always, nothing in this video is financial advice. Do your own research and always manage risk according to your own individual risk profile. If you have tickers you want me to look at, drop them in the comments below, and if you found this useful, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Catch you in the next one.